It is not enough to know the Miranda rights or the amendment rights. It is important to know the law and how to apply the law to your circumstances. It is very expensive to just talk to a lawyer. If the lawyer decides not to take your case, you are out of the fee that you had to pay and still must keep looking for a lawyer. I was told by a county lawyer that fighting for my land was not worth it because of the money that he would charge. Reason why you need to know the law: to make sure that a lawyer defense is the best defense in a civil or criminal case. To not make the wrong mistake when confronted with adversities. To defend yourself as a proceed when you cannot afford a lawyer. To have peace of mind knowing that justice was achieved. Most people know how to go before the magistrate court and have a judge rule for them. But what if you feel the judge is unfair or need to go before a higher court? What do you do? Learning the law and how to apply the law to your situation will help you defend yourself even as they proceed in the higher court. You want to be able to have a jury trial for justice. The jury will take into consideration the intent of your claim. What if you need a lawyer for a civil or criminal case and is having trouble picking out the right lawyer? You need to know the law to help you pick the right lawyer. It used to be known that if you had money, then you would get the best legal defense. I believe that is not true anymore. Look at Bill Cosby case. I believe that if Bill Cosby had attorney Jennifer Bojin as the first lawyer, history would be different. All the citizens in every state needs to learn what a paralegal knows. Most classes are 3 hours. The 3-hour classes and the Mind Trap program help reinforce the information that the lawyer teaches you. If you cannot read well, a Mind Trap program will speak the words for you. I believe the most important class is civil litigation in South Carolina. In other states, the classes may have another name. You learn how to do a summons, complaint, answer, affidavit of service, default judgment, motion to compel, interrogators, request for production, witness deposition notice, deposition subpoena, request for admission, and notice of appeal. The judicial branch of the Constitution, Article 3, interprets the law, lawyers, and judges. If you are not satisfied with a magistrate ruling, you can appeal to a Superior Court judge. If you're not satisfied with the Superior Court judge ruling, you can ask for an appeal of the case. Know what court to file your case in. For example, magistrate court is $7,050 in South Carolina. That's the limit. Your state may differ in the price. If you compare the two court systems, you will see that North Carolina also includes the clerk of Superior Court and the judicial system as a probate judge. According to North Carolina Constitution, you are supposed to be a licensed lawyer to practice law in the North Carolina justice system. South Carolina, you have a probate judge. To make sure your rights are not violated by the probate judge, you need to know the law. Ask for a jury trial to protect your rights to land property. That's the 14th Amendment. I've heard that some people are losing their land mainly because somebody else wants to sell theirs. What my part is, why is the person who wants to give up their land have more right than you do to keep your land? That is my problem with that. You should have just as much right to keep your land as the other person trying to get their land. Who has the upper? That's the reason why you have to go to court. You have to go before the jury. Let the jury decide who should keep their land or who should have to give up their land for money. What if you don't have no money? Then you're going to lose your land because you can't buy the other person out? That is wrong. You need to know the law. What happens when a lack of knowledge contributes to unfair justice? The clerk of the Superior Court was elected by the county. The clerk of Superior Court for several decades has been practicing law without a license in Harnett County. I believe the clerk of the Superior Court has a court hearing as a judge to win cases for the chosen attorney clients. I believe the victims is usually poor, older adult who cannot afford a lawyer and doesn't know the law. The clerk of court has no way of giving citizens due process in probate decision. You cannot file an ethics grievance against the clerk of the Superior Court. Only lawyers and judges can you file an ethics grievance against. In 1981, the North Carolina Constitution stated that only licensed lawyers should practice law as a judge and hired in magistrate court. The probate judge was not listed. The probate judge rules on land, last will, property right, and guardianship. What they ruled on is the 14th Amendment, life, liberty, and property. The clerk of court as a probate judge is not only violating the North Carolina Constitution and in the legislative ruling, if you sign papers, then you are practicing law, but they are also violating the U.S. federal Constitution. Why are they getting away with this? Most people have a lack of knowledge of the judicial system. I was one of them. Practicing law without a license. The clerk of court has been practicing law without a license ever since 1966. In 1981, the Constitution stated that no one is to practice law in the court higher than magistrate without a license. The clerk of court changed their name from in the Superior Court of Harnett County to in the General Court of Justice, Superior Court Division, before the clerk of court. You go to a small room with a King Arthur table. The clerk of court has their own room where they give their form of justice. They do not give you due process, which is a violation of the 14th Amendment. The Attorney General is not fighting for justice in Harnett County. The reason why I say that, because my case is based on the fact that the clerk of court is practicing law in Harnett County without a license. I have the evidence to show that. And I have the evidence to show ever since 1966, they have been doing the same thing, practicing law without a license. The Attorney General is supposed to protect us, the citizen. The citizens are the one who pays her salary. She's supposed to protect our rights, to make sure that the system, the court system in Harnett County is run correctly. I have a case in U.S. District Court. Why? Because I went before the clerk of court in Harnett County and was not given the right to a jury trial in violation of my 14th Amendment. And also, I wanted my 25% because I looked at the fact that the old case, 1987 to 1992 case, was reopened. But what I discovered that the clerk of court, in doing research, I discovered that the clerk of court was practicing law without a license. Audience, I did not know that. If I had known that in the beginning, I would have filed difference. That is the reason why it is so important that you learn the law. In 2023, a young black lady said on the internet that Obama has done nothing for them. It is important that young people look for signed bills by former President Obama before they go on the internet and make this statement, which is not true, that Obama did nothing for them. In 2009, Obama signed $1 trillion bill for black farmers. He adds money, $1.5 billion, to fund settlement black farmers for buyers. The $50,000 grant was for buyers. That was a grant. You didn't have to pay that back. But you could also got a $50,000 loan to buy equipment and whatever else you needed as a farmer. It also says that you could have got housing on your land. And what I mean, you could build housing on your land. And you did not have to have a credit score. You had to show credibility, but not a credit score. Also, this loan is a loan that you will want because if you get sick, the subsidies in this bill will pay your house payment if you could not afford to pay it for whatever reason. This is the reason why I stress to everybody that you need to know how to sue in court. You got to know how to go above the magistrate court. And that takes knowledge and learning. And the best classes to take is what the paralegal takes. This bill was written by Ashley Southard. New York Times, Bloomberg News also reported in 2009. I don't believe it was reported in the local newspaper, but it should have been. Reason I continued the loan program was because of Rule 3.9. After applying for a loan and deciding to withdraw for any reason, if you apply again, your application should be put into an inactive file. The word should makes this rule discriminatory, which means that everyone who apply again is not treated the same. I did not want to take the chance of my application being put into an inactive file. Why an unjust law is no law at all. Rule 3.9. Rule 3.9, withdrawing and rejecting application. The unjust law for putting a second new application in an inactive file needs to be taken off the book. You, the applicant, and the public, taxpayer, should resist this unfair ruling in order to reapply for a loan. The word should make this law discriminatory. The word should allow the agent to pick and choose who they put in the active and inactive file. HB-1-3550 is the rule and regulation field handbook for all 50 states. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Start fighting for your civil rights. 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law equals due process, life, liberty, and property. A good example of the 14th Amendment when it's dealing with property is Walmart. Walmart gives you due process by listing the time that you must return merchandise if you are not satisfied with the merchandise. If you lose your receipt, then the store will give you a shop card for the value of the merchandise. You are given the opportunity to buy a warranty. What is happening is the 14th Amendment, due process for property rights by Walmart. You are supposed to get the same thing when you go to court under a judge. You're supposed to be given some form of due process if you're not satisfied with the decision that the judge gave you. All of this is due process, life, liberty, and property. Ways you can fight for justice. Fight for term limit for the Superior Clerk of Court, the County Commissioner, and the ratio of these. Having the voting machine made so they cannot delete votes, only accept votes. I heard that a lady lost her job because she would not delete the votes. Deleting vote is voter fraud. Fighting for your district only. Allowing other citizens to vote in your district, like other districts, like 2, 3, or 4, will dilute the vote and may fail to elect a person who will support your district. You can fight for that. Who am I? I am Lorraine Elliott. I am just a messenger to push for empowerment by everyone to learn the law and how to sue in court when their civil rights are violated. I wrote about how the USDA loan program violate their own rules and regulations, how the James Roger Elliott heirs can get back their land back, and this presentation on why education on the law is very important and what happens when the wrong people are allowed to run the government. All 3 presentations have unqualified personnel running the government. The presentations are listed on YouTube under Lorraine Elliott. You as a citizen of each state can insist that qualified personnel are hired going by civil service ranking. Thank you. I believe President Joe Biden has let the floodgate open. You were at first accepting children, now you have families. Thousands are at the border looking to be allowed in. Audience, all these people here have to have a place to stay. The new Americans will fight for their rights. We as Black Americans have to fight to help to keep our land. Learn the law and how to sue. Gullah community, please require payments for the use of your name and way of life by others. The money that you sue for can be used to help save your land. The 1% of the Americans, please help build houses for the peoples on their land in every state. Your life will change, and probably the Constitution, if all these people become citizens. Don't forget what happened to the Indians. Remember the Indians who end up on the reservation? They were friendly too. They thought that the people were coming to share. When actually the people that were coming over here was to have it all. And they put the Indians on mostly worthless land. We don't want that to be us. So you got to wake up and tell Congress to stop the floodgate from being open. and that we cannot be responsible for all these people coming here. We got to have places for the people that's already here. Be prepared to start marching for justice. The Superior Clerk of Court should be asked to resign for being a judge. She went beyond her job description as a Superior Clerk of Court. The citizens in Harnett County voted for a Clerk of Superior Court, not a probate judge. Ask the Attorney General and his deputy of North Carolina to resign. The Attorney General is supposed to prosecute corruption in the county, in Harnett counties. The Attorney General is defending corruption in Harnett County by defending the Clerk of Superior Court. Ask Al Sharpton to lead the way in marching for justice. The first stop is Raleigh, North Carolina, and then Washington. Why? The governor is supposed to make sure that all the counties in North Carolina are run well and that the county is not violating the civil rights or constitutional rights of the citizens in that county. Thank you. Please donate to get out the voice of letting everyone, especially the ones who were done wrong by the justice system or feel that they were done wrong by the justice system. Please donate $20 to the cause. The money will be used to give out material and get in touch with everyone, especially the people who are in the judicial system, that there is hope in getting justice, but they got to learn the law. Thank you.